Well, what's up, Tiger fans? Welcome in live to another Hump Day edition, Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 edition of the Babin on the Bayou show. Hope all of you and your family are doing well. Again, I'm your host, as always, Justin Babin Jr. Excited to be bringing this episode of the Babin on the Bayou show to you. We'll recap LSU's win over Creighton last night, Tuesday night. The Tigers won in the box over Creighton last night by a final score of 8-4. We'll talk about that. We'll talk a little bit about Vanderbilt. I don't want to talk a ton about Vanderbilt just yet. I'll give a few things that you should probably pay attention to. I'm going to do tomorrow night, trying to plan some stuff out as far as an SEC baseball preview show tomorrow night, trying to plan that out. I'll let you know about those details probably sometime tomorrow. And we'll obviously target SEC in general, but also LSU and Vanderbilt this weekend. But we'll talk a little bit, take a first glance at the Commodores over there in Nashville, where LSU is headed this weekend. Remember, of course, every day we're brought to you by our wonderful sponsors over at Shield Heating and Cooling, the best AC company in the business today. You know that number, 225-46-BAYOU, 225-46-BAYOU, B-A-Y-O-U. You call that number, you tell the team over at Shield Heating and Cooling that you heard about them from the Babin on the Bayou show. You'll be receiving free AC system cleaning checks for every AC system in your home, courtesy of our wonderful friends over at Shield Heating and Cooling. Thank you, folks, as always, for tuning into the show. I greatly appreciate it. And let's not waste any more time. So the Tigers win last night. They get a win. They move to 13-5 on the season with their 8-4 win last night, Tuesday night, in the box at home over Creighton. Look, for this game, I think it wasn't perfect, right? Like especially the first few innings weren't perfect. They were actually pretty ugly, and we'll talk about it. But I think you overall saw a positive step in the right direction for this baseball team. I thought you saw growth last night. I thought you saw this team take a step in the right direction. I talked about it a little bit in my pregame show yesterday that we did before the game. I talked about in a 56 game baseball season, and every baseball season, especially one that's 56 games long, you're going to face adversity. You're going to face adversity, trials, and it's all about how you respond. It's all about how mentally tough you are. Are you mentally tough enough to pick yourself up off the mat when you're knocked down and bounce back and respond well to adversity? Jay Johnson has said it before that his team last year in 2025 that ended up winning the 8th national championship in LSU baseball history, that was the most mentally tough team that he ever coached last year. And that team faced adversity. That team faced adversity in the Auburn series where they got swept and their offense looked really, really bad. They lost a series to Texas A&M. They lost other series as well in SEC play. And the point is, they faced adversity. Like every single team in baseball, in college baseball, every season, you're going to face some amount of adversity. And LSU baseball has faced it a lot over the last 2 weeks. That's obvious. You started 8-0 to the season. You look like world beaters the first 2 weeks of the season. We're playing as good as any team in the country. And since then, it's been a struggle, especially on offense at the plate. You know, you're go. Excuse me. Am I back? Am I back, everybody? Okay, we're back. We're back. Don't freak me out like that. But you're coming off a weekend where you lost 4 of 5 last weekend. You lost to Northeastern, you lost to ULL, and you lost 2 out of 3 to Sacramento State. And then you get to the game last night where it doesn't start out well in the first 3 innings. The first 3 innings were rough when you look at it, especially. Reagan Ricken got the start. He set Creighton down in order, retired them in order in the first inning. You did score 1 run in the first inning on an RBI bloop single that was hit by Steven Monster Milam. Jake Brown hit a double earlier in the inning, and he came across the score when Milam hit that RBI bloop single. But in the second and the third, you had a lot of trouble. You had a lot of trouble in the second and the third inning when you look at it. You gave up 2 runs in the second, you gave up 2 more runs in the third, and in those 2 innings combined, you walked 4, you hit 2 batters, and you threw 2 wild pitches. And the defense wasn't great. The defense early in this game, I said it in a post yesterday or last night while I was watching the game. I thought the defense in the first 3 innings was sloppy as well. And that's the thing I'll address later in the show. But the point is, you didn't start out well in the first 3 innings defensively, and you struggled with command as a pitching staff between Reagan Ricken, Dax Dothe was in the game, Ethan Plog was in the game, Maverick Rizzi finished out the third. Now, Rizzi had a good 4th inning. We'll get back to that later. But the point is, you started this game pretty not great. You were down 4-1 going into the 4th inning. Again, we'll kind of recap what happened in the second. So again, Ricken had a clean first inning, looked great, or he looked good, and then he gave up a walk in between 2 singles. He gave up a walk and then 2 singles. There was also one error that Ricken made on a pickoff attempt back to first where he misfired that throw. That was one error that Ricken made in the inning. But again, he walked a batter. There were 2 singles. The second single drove in Creighton's first run of the game. Then Ricken, proceeded to walk his second batter of the inning. Dax Dothe came in the game and walked the only batter that he faced. There was a sac fly RBI that was hit off of Ethan Plog in the second inning that scored Creighton's second run of the game. And then you kind of got bailed out a little bit. You kind of got helped out a little bit on a call. So a bunt attempt that was made by Creighton, Omar Cerna, who's playing catcher, picks it up and kind of misfires the throw a little bit to first base. But the runner was called out. He was called out because he didn't run legally all the way through the baseline. And he was called out because of that. Jay Johnson challenged the play, and that kind of helped your team. You also had to end the second inning. Stephen Milam made an unbelievable play at shortstop to end the second inning. I mean, again, the best defensive shortstop in America today is Stephen Milam. He's the best defensive shortstop in America today. You also threw 2 wild pitches in that second inning as well. So again, you struggle with command early in this game. We'll move on to let's see, the third. So Ethan Plog came back out in the third. He walked 2 batters. He also hit a batter as well. So Plog, who I think he came in the game on Saturday and was awesome in the game on Saturday. He struggled with command, walking 2 and hitting 1 in the third inning. Maverick Rizzi came in the game in the third. He gave up a 2 RBI single. Let's see. Yeah. So anyway, you were down 4-1. You were down 3 runs going into the top of the 4th. You were down 3 runs going into the top of the 4th because of those wild pitches, because of those walks, because you struggle with command, and because defensively, I think the defense is a little bit concerning to me long term, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But for me personally, when I look at this team, when I look at what you have, it is concerning the way you play defense at some points. You gave up 7 errors in 2 games, 2 midweek games last week against Northeastern and ULL, and you didn't look awesome defensively in the first part of this game. The exceptions to that are, of course, Stephen Milam at short and Derek Curiel in center. Those are the exceptions. Stephen Milam, as I said before, made that spectacular play last night to get you out of the second. Derek Curiel made a Superman-esque play as well that was amazing to end the 4th, not allowing a run across for Creighton in the 4th. The point is, you struggled a little bit. So it was 4-1. You were down 3 going into the 4th inning. Let me get to the comments here real quick. What's up, buddy? What's up, Paul? What's up, my friend? It's good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, I think early in the game, hitting wise. So in the first 3 innings, again, Milam hit that RBI bloop single in the first inning that scored Brown. I thought you did a good job in the first inning. I thought you took more quality ABs in this game. I think you took more quality ABs in this game, especially in the first inning. I think Seth Dardar had like a 10 pitch AB where you eventually got walked on. Like, Dardar was good. Like, I thought in the first inning, I think the starting pitcher for Creighton finished throwing 30 pitches in the first inning or around that. So I thought you took some quality ABs early in the game. Now in the second inning, you have 2 runners in scoring position, and Jake Brown and Seth Dardar both struck out in back-to-back at ABs to leave those 2 runners on base. That was unfortunate. You left another runner on base in the third. And you're down 4-1 entering the third. In the fourth, Tanner Reeves came around to score. Reeves hit a leadoff single in the fourth. And then the shortstop, so Jake Brown hit a hard ball right to the shortstop. And because it was hit so hard, the shortstop was unable to field it and struggled fielding it. And that allowed Jake Brown to reach base safely at first, and it allowed Tanner Reeves to score another run in the fourth. So you cut the lead to 4-2 going into the fifth. Then you had Creighton struggle with command. They hit 2 batters in the fifth. Zach York. I thought Zach York hit the ball well. I think he had multiple hits in the game last night. I thought he did well, but Creighton hit 2 LSU batters in the fifth. Zach York singled. The bases were loaded. Omar Cerna steps up to the plate and absolutely crushes the baseball. He hits it over 450 feet. He absolutely crushed that baseball. A bases loaded grand slam hit by the freshman catcher Omar Cerna Jr. that gave LSU the 6-4 lead in the fifth. Awesome to see for Cerna, a guy who I think with development has a lot of promise, and he's going to be a good player here at LSU over the next couple of years. Awesome to see. He absolutely mashed that baseball. I mean, over 450 feet, folks. It was a no-doubter, and it was absolutely crushed. Jake Brown hit a 2-run bomb as well in the eighth. Derek Carrillo got on base via walk in the eighth when it was 6-4 still. And then Jake Brown came up to the plate and hit his 9th bomb of the season to add a few more insurance runs on the board for LSU. Runs 7 and 8 came on the board for LSU due to that Brown home run. And Jake Brown has been your best player. He's been your best player, your best offense player for sure at the plate when you look at it. I mean, the guy is absolutely raking. You don't believe me? Well, folks, I mean, he's already eclipsed his home run total for the whole 2025 season. In 2025, Jake Brown, in the whole 2025 season, hit 8 home runs. He has 9 home runs in 2026, and we haven't even played a game of SEC play yet. Like, Jake Brown is absolutely crushing the baseball, and he's been awesome. He's been excellent this season. When you look at it. So I think batting wise, I think you had better ABs. I think you had quality ABs. I think you were able to work counts. I think you were able to foul more balls off. I think you had a good night at the plate. You left a few runners on base early, but what you were able to do again, when a Jay Johnson offense is at its best, it's aggressive, but it can also be patient at times in terms of working counts, fouling balls off, making pitchers work. And from the jump, again, in the first inning, the starter for Creighton threw 30 pitches in just the first inning alone. So I think you had more quality ABs. You ended up scoring 8 runs. Great to see that grand slam hit by Cerna. Jake Brown continues to be the best offensive player, probably the best player on this team in non-conference play this season, and that was awesome to see. And you get to the pitching staff as well. You give up 4 runs in the first 3 innings of the game, but in innings 4 through 9, so in the final 6 innings of this game, the LSU pitching staff shut out the Creighton offense. Creighton didn't score a single run in the final 6 innings of this game. Maverick Rizzi came back out in the 4th and pitched a clean inning thanks to an incredible Superman-like catch by Derek Carrillo to end the 4th. Then you saw Devin Sheeran come in and start the 5th, and Sheeran, He struggled Saturday with command. That was really his first shaky appearance of the season. Before that, he was absolutely nails. Didn't allow a hit in like his first 5 appearances of the season. Struggled on Saturday, but he came back out Tuesday night last night against Creighton, and he was really, really good once again. He pitched. He came in the fifth, pitched 2 1/3 scoreless innings, only gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 hit batter. He struck out 4, did not give up a run. So again, Devin Sheeran continues to be one of the best bullpen arms in this rotation. And then personally, you could give it to Omar Cerna for the grand slam. You can give it to Jake Brown for hitting his 9th homer of the season, already eclipsing his 2026 total, not even into SEC conference play. But my player of the game is actually left-hander Santiago Garcia. I thought Santiago Garcia had an amazing game. Definitely, without question, his best appearance, his best, performance as a Tiger. And he was awesome last night. I thought Garcia was great coming into the game. I mean, he had a high ERA coming into the game, but he pitched the final 2 2/3 scoreless innings, didn't give up a run in the final 2 2/3 innings, only gave up 1 hit. He struck out 4. He had great command. He had great velocity on his fastball and great command with his fastball, sitting around 93 to 94. When you look at it, he had some good breaking stuff with his slider and just good breaking stuff as well. I thought Garcia was highly, highly impressive last night, and that was one of my big takeaways. Is I really liked what you saw from Santiago Garcia on the mound last night. Sheeran and Garcia pitched the final. They pitched the final 5 innings for the Tigers, and they retired 16 of the 19 batters they faced. Sheeran and Garcia did. So those two guys were nails. They were awesome in the final 5 innings of this game between Devin Sheeran and Santiago Garcia. A few more notes on this game. It was great to see Chris Stanfield back out there. So he didn't start the game, but he did come in as a pinch runner. And I think the 5th or the 6th, one of those innings he came in, I think, yeah, middle of the game, he came in as a pinch runner, and that was awesome to see. The crowd, ovation for Stanny. Everybody loves Stanny. You know how good he is. It was awesome to see him back in the game. He got one at bat. He did strike out, but of course, like he's gonna probably a little bit rusty. I mean, he swung the bat fully for the first time in a couple weeks on Monday, and then he had an at bat on Tuesday. So he'll figure it out. It was great to see him. He played the final few innings out in left field and ran the bases as well, coming on in that pinch runner situation. So, again, I love Chris Stanfield, and as he gets healthier, he's going to have a big impact on this team during conference play and during the rest of the season. It was great to see Chris Stanfield come back out there for the Tigers. Look, I think again for me, I think you took a positive step in the right direction because I talked about yesterday how this team has the talent. They have the talent and they have the coaching ability to be very successful and get to where they want to go this season. It is not a talent issue. It is not a talent problem. I think some of it is mental. I think some of it is mental, the attitude, the mentality coming in like these past 2 weeks. I thought it was really good and a sign of mental toughness for you to bounce back from adversity, going down 3 runs, going down 4-1 into the 4th inning after a struggle in the first 3 innings. And you bounce back in the last 6 innings and you outscore Creighton 7-0 from the 4th inning on. So I thought it was a good step in the right direction for this team. Jay Johnson said the same thing last night. And yeah, I liked how they responded. I thought they responded well, and that is a sign of a baseball team that again, I think you're growing. Do you still have a lot of work to do? Of course. You haven't been great in the past 9 to 10 games in the past 2 weeks, but it's a sign of growth. It's a sign of growth for this team. And look, going into SEC play, I mean, you play Vanderbilt this weekend. We'll get into that a little bit before we get out of here. But again, I think you have some good things, good qualities mentally that you saw from this team last night. And I think that that was a big thing to see. Uh, so wanted to touch on Vandy real quick. So we'll take a few notes, give you a few notes I have on Vanderbilt, the team LSU plays in Nashville in the 3-game weekend series this weekend to start off SEC conference play. Won't give you everything that I have right now. Well, again, tomorrow night I'll let you know once we're finalizing some details with some people potentially going to have playing on something cool, really cool, an SEC baseball preview show for LSU baseball tomorrow night, where we'll talk about non-conference play, maybe some of our thoughts through those 4 weeks, and then kind of look ahead to Vanderbilt and SEC play as a whole. But a few numbers on Vandy: they are 11-7 on the season. That is their record on the season. That's actually the worst record of any team in the SEC in non-conference play. When you look at it, 11-7. But I think they've actually played some decent competition in non-conference play. When you look at it, the reason I say that is because they actually played two of their 4 weekends in non-conference play. They played away from home. So to start the season in Arlington, they played 3 Big 12 teams, and they lost 2 of those games, 2 of those 3 in Arlington to Big 12 schools. And then I believe not this past weekend, but the weekend before, they played 3 games in Las Vegas in the Live Like Lou Las Vegas Classic, and they lost all 3 of those games to UC Irvine, Arizona, and Oregon. So they've actually played some good P4 competition, but they are 11-7. They do technically have the worst record of any team in the SEC going into conference play, but they have played some good teams. When you look at it, of course, they're coached by Tim Corbin, one of the best coaches in college baseball. Jay Johnson said something today. He said he thinks Tim Corbin is the best college baseball coach since Skip Bertman. That's what Jay Johnson said. So if you don't believe me about Tim Corbin, believe Jay Johnson, because he knows what he's talking about. Tim Corbin is an excellent coach, and he does great things at Vandy. Vandy, one of the premier college baseball programs, even though they're kind of scuffling after their start in the first 4 weeks of non-conference play. But LSU, in all respects, is too after their past 2 weeks. So both of these teams are scuffling a little bit, wanting to get off to building momentum this weekend to start off SEC play in Nashville. Few numbers on Vandy. So Vandy actually, their past few seasons before this one, their power numbers, their home run totals had gone down each season as they went along. This season, they're actually pretty good they're pretty good, pretty powerful, and they have some good power on the offensive side of the baseball. They're a pretty good power hitting team. They're actually second in the SEC currently in home runs as a team. They have 44 bombs on the season. Vanderbilt does. The only team better than that is Georgia, who has 61 bombs on the season. I mean, they have a lot of bombs every season because they play in the ballpark they play in. I wanted to say a little league baseball park, but I don't want to be that disrespectful. But you get what I'm saying. Georgia, like, everybody's going to hit bombs there, and they have 61 home runs leading SEC play. But anyway, Vanderbilt, 44 bombs through the first 4 weeks of the season. That's pretty good. They have some pretty good power offensive numbers. A few guys offensively at the plate you should pay attention to. I think the top 2 guys offensively for Vandy are Braden Holcomb and Brody Johnston. Braden Holcomb and Brody Johnston are the top 2 players who stand out to me. Braden Holcomb, he's batting .349. He has 29 RBIs, and he has 9 homers so far on the season, the same total as Jake Brown. So Braden Holcomb's been really good, and so has Brody Johnston. Brody Johnston is he is hitting over 380 so far on the season at the plate with 7 homers and 15 RBIs. So again, Brody Johnston and Braden Holcomb, those are the top 2 names to pay attention to offensively for Vanderbilt. There are a few more names you should probably pay attention to, like Riker Waite. Riker Waite Belt leads the team in terms of batting average. Riker Waite is batting .392 on the season so far. So he has been pretty good. I mean, batting 392, that's pretty great from Riker Waite. Then they have a few more guys that are hitting over 300. So Logan Johnstone is batting 333, and Mac Whitcomb is batting 324. So yeah, they have a few good guys in there. Mike Mancini also has double-digit RBIs on the season. Mike Mancini has 11 RBIs on the season. So the point about Vanderbilt is, I will say, they do pose a power threat offensively with those 44 bombs through the first 4 weeks of the season. That is a pretty good number. Don't have everything for you on the pitching staff right now. A few stats I have on the pitching staff, though, a few things you should pay attention to, is Vandy, just like LSU, actually coming into conference play, ranks towards the bottom of the SEC in terms of team ERA, similar to LSU going into conference play. But they do have an absolute stud, an absolute legit ace in right-hander Connor Fennell. So right-hander Connor Fennell is super, super good. He's a legit ace, probably one of the best arms in the SEC when you look at it. He has a 3.80 ERA in 4 starts so far on the season. He has 30 strikeouts to only 3 walks. 30 strikeouts to only 3 walks. Fennell is really, really good. He doesn't throw hard. Like, his fastball tops out around 90 miles an hour. So he doesn't throw it hard like most of your top-end SEC arms do, but he has a lot of ride on his fastball, and he's pretty good with a high ride on his fastball. That's what makes it hard to hit for, especially for righties, coming right at you. And then when you are not right at you, but you get what I'm saying. The high rise on his fastball makes it hard to hit. He also has a good sweeper and a good changeup as well. He had an ERA like around 2.5, 2.6 last season as a starter for Vanderbilt, 3.80 ERA through 4 starts this year. He's a legit ace. He's a legit number 1 guy. Again, he doesn't have the normal stuff that your normal like top arms would have in the SEC. Doesn't have as much velocity, but you definitely want to pay attention to Connor Fennell. And I think it's going to be an absolute elite pitching matchup on Friday night between Casey Evans on the mound for the Tigers and Connor Fennell, the righty, on the mound for the Commodores. Definitely a guy you want to pay attention to. There's a few more guys, of course, out there behind Fennell. Austin Nye was one of the guys that was behind Fennell in the rotation. He made 3 starts early in the season, in the first 3 weekends of the season. Now, he didn't start last weekend. He's been a little injured. I think he's questionable coming into this weekend. Right now, we don't know. He's usually the Saturday starter. Austin Nye is, when he is healthy for Vanderbilt. We saw freshman Wyatt Nadeau get to start for Vanderbilt on Saturday in Austin Nye's place this past weekend on Saturday. Wyatt Nadeau got to start for Vanderbilt. And then I believe Nate Taylor has been their Sunday starter as well, with 4 starts so far on the season. I'll give you probably dive a little bit more into the pitching staff tomorrow before the show, and give you a few more numbers on a few more guys on the pitching staff you should pay attention to. But again, offensively, Brody Johnston, Braden Holcomb, they have a few more guys. Riker Waite leading the team in batting average. And when you look at the power numbers, they're pretty positive and they're pretty good. Again, this Vanderbilt offense is second in the SEC in home runs going in conference play with 44 bombs, only behind Georgia's 61. That's a few notes on Vanderbilt. Get into them a little bit more tomorrow. Again, excited about our show tomorrow night. I believe we'll kind of update you on a little bit of that. Gotta talk with some folks and get some things together and get some plans out. But I'll let y'all know in the morning what our plan is for tomorrow night. But I do expect that tomorrow night at some point we will go live for an SEC baseball preview edition of the Babin on the Bayou show. I thank you folks as always again for tuning into the show. I really, really greatly appreciate all of you folks. I hope you and your family are doing great and doing well. Remember to like the video, share the video, tell a friend about the show if they love LSU baseball. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed. Thank you folks as always for tuning into the show. And remember, as always, have a great one. God bless and go Tigers, folks. Thank you, folks, so much for tuning in to the Babin on the Bayou show. Peace.